Hello, this is Pete, or Kenshin1913, along with
Mom.
And this is another Cooking with Kenshin1913. And what are we making today?
Today we're making turkey soup.
Post-Thanksgiving.
Okay, so as Pete mentioned, this is post-Turkey Day. So what we have done is we put the turkey carcass, the skin, the wings in this big stock pot. And I'm also going to put the neck that comes inside the turkey in here. We're going to fill this with water just to cover, probably can't cover this part, but at least 3/4 of a way up. And we're going to boil this for about an hour. Mm-hmm. And what you will need after that is you'll need a strainer, but the one that has the very small holes in it.
We'll show that. So
that you can drain your soup.
Right.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to chop up, I use potatoes, carrots, celery, onion. I do barley, pearl barley. Mm-hmm. And then I let all that stuff cook. Mm-hmm. And then you can add to it whatever you choose. A little pasta, a small, like a little shell, or a tubatini. You could pre-boil some rice and put it in there, or you can put like an egg noodle in there. So whatever you like, you can put in there. You could also add a package of mixed vegetables to it. You could put a can of chopped tomatoes in it. The stock that comes from the chicken's turkey soup is absolutely delicious, and it's so much more heartier, I think, than chicken soup. And you could also throw in a little bit of that leftover gravy if you want, so it'll just make the whole stock much more flavorful. Now, if you do not have the carcass, right, and you want to make turkey soup, in the grocery store you could either get, they sell turkey wings or turkey legs, and what you would do is you would boil them and basically do the same thing, and you could take the meat off the legs after they're done and have turkey soup that way. I often do that as well. If you want to make just plain chicken soup, you could do the same thing. You could do legs or wings. Mm-hmm. I feel that when you have some of the bone in the meat and that boils up, you get a much better flavor. I do know some people who take chicken breast, boneless chicken breast, and just cook those up. You probably could do that as well. I just don't think it comes as flavorful. So we're going to start our first part with the carcass and boil that up for about 45 minutes to an hour. So it's going to come to a nice rolling boil. We're going to then stop the cooking process, let it cool very slightly, and then strain it into another pan.
Right, and in that time too, we're going to pretty much, all you're really going to do is chop up this stuff finely if you want, or
you could
just use a food processor
you could use
or something.
Food processor, or you can just chop it by hand. Before food processors, we had to do it all by hand.
Right. So when we'll fill it up. We'll start boiling, and I'll show you what it looks like as we're doing it. Just so you can get a semblance of what it'll be like. All right. So we're about a half hour into this thing, and yeah, as you can see, this is the soup stock that we're doing. Can you show the neck, Mom? All right. So we did put in the turkey neck off screen.
So here's a skin.
Yeah. So this is why
I know some people. Some people are grossed out by this kind of stuff, but it's very delicious. Okay, let me see if I can find you.
If you can't find the neck, it's all right. But yeah, so there is meat on here, and this is the meat that we're actually going to be using.
That's a leg. See the leg?
Yeah. Okay, so then that's the meat we're going to actually be using to like have meat in our turkey soup. Is that stuff. Alright, so yeah, we'll just let it boil another half hour or so.
Yeah, because you have to let it cool down because there's no way to strain it. Here's the neck.
There you go, there's the neck right there. So yeah, you're gonna use every part of the bird.
But you could tell already, you see what nice broth this is making? Okay, so here we are about an hour, maybe a little bit more. It doesn't hurt to make it boil longer.
Right.
The better, longer than shorter.
Right.
So now I'm going to take out the carcasses. Now you can see how hot this is. Look at the steam. So be careful, because then I want this to cool down a little bit. So then, see the meat still on the bones?
Yeah, we're gonna pull that off because we're gonna use that as turkey meat for the turkey
inside
soup.
the soup.
So pretty much we're just gonna get all this stuff out.
The bigger stuff.
Yeah.
And we use a smaller strainer so that in case anything broke off, a little bone or anything.
Yeah, we'll show you that next.
Okay, so this is all of the carcass and the legs that we took out. And you can see it's still really steaming, and it will stay like that for a while. So, thank you. So if you don't even want to take the meat from here, you could wait until the following day. Let this totally cool down. Put it in your refrigerator. You could even put it in a Ziploc bag, and then the following day you could fool around with the meat.
Yeah, and here we have ourselves the broth. Although this still needs to be strained over here, we're gonna do it right here. So you need a sieve about this,
or bigger. But as you can see, I want you to see it's the small one.
Yeah, it's gotta have thin holes or small holes so that it strains really good.
Yeah, because you don't want to get a bone in there.
So we're just going to pour it through there.
Still got some
goodness there. All this is good here.
See, and that's still some meat that I didn't get the bones.
Right, but that's all
so
right.
I'll just let that cool down.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, pretty much you got all this stuff here. And you got all this delicious broth.
And I'll save all this for my sister's outside kitties.
Yeah.
Who will thank me afterwards after they eat it.
So
look at the beautiful broth that you have.
Yeah.
Look at that stock.
Looks great.
That's lovely. And then we're going to cut our vegetables up and put it in there. Okay, so I chopped up all of my vegetables. I had about 4 carrots. I had a large onion, 2 stalks of celery, and I had about 4 medium small potatoes. You could add more if you want. If you're using the potatoes and they're a big one, you probably only need 2.
Right.
I did not take the skin off my potato on this one because it was the newer skin. It's very thin. But if you've got, some of the older potatoes where the skin is thick, you're going to want to peel it. Okay, so now I'm just going to add this in here.
Yeah, as you can see, we let it cool, and now there's like a film of, I think it's like fat or something.
Yeah, and usually when I make soup, any kind of soup, I usually don't eat it the same day until it's had a chance to cool down, because when you have this in the refrigerator, the grease is actually going to come to the top, kind of solidify, and you could actually take some of that grease off of this top. So we call that kind of skimming. So now this is going to come up to a boil again.
Put it on the oven, let it come up to a boil.
And because these vegetables are cut quite small, they will cook very quickly. As it comes to a boil, then I'm going to add my pearl barley. I put about a half a cup in there. I just love barley in any kind of soup. And then what I do is on the day that we're going to eat it, I bring it back up to a boil. I put my small pasta in it, as I mentioned, or you can put pre-boiled that you've already cooked and add rice to this. You don't want to add uncooked rice to the soup because it will absorb all of the broth. Or you can add noodles. We're going to also add a little salt and pepper to this. Okay, so now as you can see,
our broth and vegetables are cooking.
I don't even know. We'll let you know what size pan this is, how many quarts.
Right.
But my soup has been boiling for about maybe 20 minutes or so. And remember, because these are cut up small, they cook quick.
Right, now you're gonna add your barley, which is pretty much
I have about 3/4 of a cup for this amount of liquid. If you have smaller soup, you're gonna, of course, adjust downwards, okay?
So we're just gonna throw that in and mix it around.
Yeah, and then you gotta come back and mix it just so that it won't stick on the bottom. You don't want it to stick, but barley is great in soup.
Right.
Some people just add extra and don't put any pasta in.
Right, and then the next step will be us putting turkey in, and then at that point you could probably eat it, right, if you wanted to?
Yeah.
But we're gonna put in macaroni, which we will show you how we do it. So, and that'll be another day, but there you go.
Okay, so here we are. I took that turkey that was on the bone. I separated some out for the soup. You can put more in if you want. I put some away for our kitties too.
Yeah.
And so I clean it all so it's all nice and white meat or whatever is going to be whole pieces. I love the dentist. And that's all you need to do with that.
Yeah.
And then the next step is we're going to add, I'm going to put little pasta in here. Okay, so here we are, a couple of days after Thanksgiving. I made my soup. You could see the fat is on the top, but it doesn't have a lot of fat at all for this soup. Not for this amount of soup. And look at all now this is all going to liquefy some more, and this is nice and thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up to a boil, and then I'm adding 3 small pastas in it. This is acene pepe, which ends up being like a little ball. This is tubatini. It's a little tube, and little shells.
Right.
And I'll throw that in when it starts to boil up.
We'll show that.
And the pasta will cook in there for a few minutes, and we'll be ready to eat.
Now, once again, you don't have to do this. You can literally make it that same day and then put the pasta in.
And put the pasta in if you would like.
But we're just doing it a couple days later.
Okay, so here we are, boiling away. I'm adding my combination of pasta.
Yeah, now you're just gonna
probably have in there about a cup, maybe a little bit more.
Now you just gotta make sure to stir it, and then when the pasta's done, that's when we can serve it and have some. Yep.
See, you can kind of tell. You can see the dried pasta in a spoonful that you pick up. So that's about what you want, unless you want it much thicker with hardly any liquid, or broth. You could do that as well.
All right.
Okay, so here we are.
We have our soup.
We're done with the soup, and you can see how nice and thick it is, the pasta and all the vegetables.
Yeah, yum.
So we're gonna plate it up.
Let's put it in our bowl. Lots of delicious turkey. Now, what kind of turkey did you end up using again? Was it the dark meat or the white meat?
Whatever was on the bones.
Oh, okay. Can you use, if you have extra white meat or something you can put in there?
You could, yeah.
Alright, so, yeah, we can top this with oyster crackers, but...
You can put some grated cheese on it if you like it. Whatever way you like.
Alright, so, honestly, I can't really show you the soup too well.
Tilt it. No, it'll be on the floor.
Yeah, so, what I'm going to do, one of my favorite things to put on soup is some oyster crackers. So if you wouldn't mind.
Which we have right here.
If you wouldn't mind.
And you can put some Parmesan cheese on here.
Yeah.
Which is great. Some people like that on their soup.
That's good turkey soup right there.
Nice and hearty.
I know. I need this right now. It's very cold where we're living, so it's very good. But yeah, honestly, this soup's really good, and all the flavors. delicious turkey and everything. Just damn good. So, I've been Pete, or Kenshin1913, along with
Mom.
And this has been another Cooking with Kenshin1913.
Enjoy and happy eating.
These make great gifts, Kenshin1913 aprons on Etsy. Check the link below. Bye-bye.